The scene was hard to watch. Katie Boulter, one of the most charismatic players on the tour, was leaving the centre court in Hong Kong, not with a wave, but with tears streaming down her face. Just moments before, she was in the middle of an intense battle. But in the blink of an eye, everything fell apart. This wasn't just another tennis match. This was something much deeper, one of those rare moments when sports reveals its brutal human cost. What led to this heartbreaking scene? And what does the reaction of her young opponent, Alex Eala, reveal about the future of women's tennis? On the other side of the net was a young woman carrying the weight of an entire nation. Alex Eala isn't just another promising player. At 20 years old and rocketing into the world's top 50, she has become a global phenomenon. But her game isn't based on pure power. It's her mind that makes her so dangerous. She plays chess while many others play checkers, anticipating every move, exploiting every weakness. The pressure on her shoulders was immense. Every victory wasn't just for her, but for millions of fans in the Philippines who see her as their first great champion. And on this night, everything was on the line. But to understand the true tragedy of this match, you need to understand Katie Boulter's story. She is no stranger to drama. Her career has been a roller coaster of devastating injuries and triumphant comebacks. She had been a finalist here in Hong Kong, knowing perfectly well what it feels like to come so close to glory. At 29 years old, she was the veteran, the fighter. But there seemed to be a curse hanging over her. Whenever momentum built, her body would betray her. This wasn't just another match, it was another attempt to escape a cycle of bad luck that threatened to define her career. And this night in Hong Kong would be the cruelest chapter of all. The score was 6-4, 2-1 for Eala. The tension was palpable, and then it happened. A sudden lunge for a ball, a muffled scream that echoed through the silent court. Boulter froze in place, her hand clutching the back of her left thigh. The expression on her face wasn't just one of physical pain, it was the pure panic of someone who knew instantly that it was happening again. Hope drained from her face, replaced by crushing frustration. You could see the realization hit her, months of training, the chance to climb the rankings, all disappearing in a single muscle strain. The cameras closed in as she began to cry, capturing the exact moment a dream shattered. As Boulter was helped off the court, all eyes turned to the victor, Alex Eala. And it was her reaction that left everyone stunned. There was no celebration, no raised fist. Instead, her face showed genuine concern. She approached the net, her eyes following Boulter. And later, in interviews, her words were even more impactful. She didn't talk about her own achievement. She talked about Boulter's pain, about the sacrifices all players make, and about how no one wants to win like that. It was a show of maturity you simply don't see in athletes so young. In that moment, she wasn't a competitor. She was a colleague, showing a solidarity we rarely see in elite sports. In the end, this match became a mirror of the sport itself.
1675,
For Katie
6th
Boulter,
noong September
it's another
7.
long and
Ang
painful
panalong
road
ito
to
ang
recovery.
naglagay sa kanya
Her
sa
future once
kasaysayan
again
bilang
put on
unang
hold.
Filipino at
For
unang
Alex
Filipina
Eala,
na nanalo
it's a
ng
career
WTA
milestone,
levels.
but one that comes with a somber reminder of the price paid. This night in Hong Kong wasn't about who lifted the trophy. It was about tears
she
shed
reads
on
a game
an
like a
empty
veteran.
court, and
And
about a
Alex,
simple act of
with
kindness
her
that
signature
spoke louder than
humility,
any scoreboard.
replied, "I'm
It
learning
showed us
so
that
much from
behind every
Nadia.
applause,
She
there
brings
is a
calm
story
to the
of
storm.
struggle.
Together,
and
we just
sometimes
flow."
victory isn't about
When they
winning,
trained
but
together for
about
the first
how you
time in
remain human
Guangzhou,
in the process.
sparks flew, not
The
a friction,
Prudential Hong
but a
Kong
synergy.
Tennis Open
Eala's
is
youthful
more than
energy
just a
met
sporting
Kitchenek's
event.
tactical brilliance.
It is a crucible
Within
of
minutes,
emotions under
they
the
move
bright
like a
lights
team that
of
have been playing for
Victoria
years.
Park.
Their instinct and
Classified as
sync,
a WTA
their communication
250,
seamless.
its importance
Nadia
in the
later
women's
told
tennis
reporters,
hierarchy may be
smiling,
numerically modest,
"You don't often
but its
find someone who
emotional
plays
and
with such
symbolic
heart.
weight
Alex,
is immense.
she's young."
It's a tournament that attracts a unique mix of established legends seeking rhythm, rising stars hungry for a title, and veterans battling for precious ranking points. The intimate atmosphere of the stadium, with a capacity of around 3,600 spectators, creates a peculiar intensity. Every shot is heard clearly, every grunt of effort, every word of encouragement from the crowd. There is nowhere to hide. In this cauldron, the pressure on the athletes is multiplied. For someone like Katie Boulter, the venue was both familiar and haunting. Her run as a finalist in previous editions was a testament to her talent, but also a constant reminder of the final step not taken. She was, in many ways, the crowd's sentimental favourite, a player whose story of resilience resonated with the fans. For Alex Eala, it was the perfect stage to announce her arrival on the main scene. Away from the overwhelming spotlight of the Grand Slams, yet still under significant international gaze, it was a golden opportunity to demonstrate that her rise in the rankings was not a fluke, but a reflection of genuine, sustainable quality.
Their
The night of
opponents were the
October
top
27th,
seeds.
2025
Veterans would crush their
had a
competition
different energy.
with ruthless
The
precision all
characteristically
week.
humid
The
air of
first
Hong
set was
Kong
war.
seemed
Rallies
charged not
stretched
only
to
with
20,
moisture but
sometimes
with
30 strokes.
anticipation.
Sweat
The
dripped.
crowd, always
Lungs
loud and
burned,
diverse,
but neither
included
Eala
a
nor
notable
Kitchenek
contingent
blinked.
of Filipinos
At 5 to 5,
wearing national
40 to
colours
40,
and carrying
with
flags.
tensions.
They weren't just cheering for a win, they were cheering for a piece of history. On the other side, Boulter's supporters, aware of her turbulent journey, hoped this would be the night her luck would finally turn. The stage was set not for a simple tennis match, but for a drama of Shakespearean proportions. To understand the magnitude of Eala's performance, one must look beyond rankings and statistics. Her journey is a radical departure from the traditional model of tennis development. Raised in a country without a consolidated tradition in the sport, she had to forge her own path. Her time at the Rafa Nadal Academy in Mallorca wasn't just about perfecting her backhand or improving her serve. It was about instilling a winning mentality, a fierce work ethic, and a tactical intelligence that is the hallmark of her game. What makes Eala so special is not one single devastating shot, but the completeness of her arsenal. Her forehand is an evolving work of art, precise, deep, and capable of generating deadly angles. Her volley, a skill often neglected in the power baseline era, is solid and reliable, the result of meticulous work. However, it is between the ears that she stands out the most. She possesses an early reading of the game, an ability to dismantle an opponent's style and identify weaknesses that are invisible to most. She doesn't just react to the game, she dictates it, manipulating points like a conductor leads an orchestra. The pressure she carries, however, is an entity of its own. Every time she steps onto the court, she carries the hopes of more than 110 million Filipinos. She is not just Alex Eala, tennis player. She is Alex Eala, national symbol, pioneer, inspiration. This psychological burden would destroy many athletes, but she seems to channel it into focus and determination. Her expression on court rarely changes, whether facing a spectacular winner or a frustrating error. This serenity is her superpower, an armor that protects her from external expectations and allows her to execute her game plan with relentless clarity. That night in Hong Kong, that armor would be tested not by Boulter's game, but by human tragedy. Katie Boulter's narrative is, unfortunately, one of the most common and, at the same time, most painful in professional tennis. It is the story of undeniable talent pursued by a body that repeatedly refuses to cooperate. Her career is punctuated by long periods of absence, not for lack of skill or will, but due to stress fractures, back problems, and now a series of muscle injuries that threaten to define her legacy. Every comeback is a testament to her mental resilience. Returning to the tour after months of rehabilitation is one of the most difficult challenges in sports. Confidence in one's own body diminishes, match timing vanishes, and the anxiety of getting injured again is a constant companion. Boulter has not only returned countless times, but she has returned to winning. Her style of play is based on aggression and power, a heavy forehand, and a desire to dominate the court. This style, however, places immense strain on her physique. Every serve, every dash to the net is a calculated risk. At 29, she is at the crossroads many female athletes face. The years of physical peak begin to meet the accumulated wear and tear of a decade on the tour. Every injury becomes more significant, every recovery slower. The final in Hong Kong in previous years wasn't just a bittersweet memory, it was a beacon. Proof that when her body was sound, she could compete with the best in the world. The match against Eala was another attempt to rekindle that flame, to prove to herself and the world that she still belonged among the elite. The thigh injury, therefore, was not just an interruption, it was a cruel denial of her identity as an athlete. It was her body saying no once again, at the moment when a yes was more crucial than ever. Before the fateful moment, the match was a fascinating study in tactical contrasts. Eala, aware of Boulter's power, adopted a strategy of containment and counterattack. She did not try to trade heavy blows from the baseline. Instead, she used her variety to destabilize the Briton's rhythm. Her low backhand slices forced Boulter to hit up on the ball. Short drop shots drew her to the net where Eala could exploit the passing shot, and high forehand loops took Boulter out of her comfort zone. Boulter, in turn, started the match with her characteristic intensity. Her serve was working well, and she looked to finish points quickly at the net. She secured a couple of early breaks, but Eala's consistency and patience began to pay dividends. The Filipina wasn't shaken by Boulter's spectacular winners. She simply kept executing her plan, point by point, game by game. The first set, won 6-4 by Eala, was a demonstration of tactical maturity. The decisive break of serve didn't come from a sequence of winners, but from a series of forced errors from Boulter, resulting from the constant pressure and variety of Eala's shots. You could see the frustration beginning to build in the Briton. Her grunts of effort became louder, her glances towards her player's box more frequent. She was being forced to play a game that wasn't her preferred one, and she was losing patience. In the second set, with Eala leading 2-1 and with another break of serve, the situation became desperate for Boulter. It was in this context of accumulated frustration and maximum physical effort that she stretched for a seemingly routine forehand. It wasn't a particularly dramatic movement, but it was enough. The muscle, already fatigued and perhaps overloaded by the emotional and physical tension, simply gave way. The scream that followed wasn't one of surprise, but of recognition. It was the sound of an athlete knowing that the fight, that night and for many nights to come, was over. The repercussions of this single match will echo for a long time. For Katie Boulter, the road ahead is uncertain. A grade 2 muscle strain in the hamstrings means a minimum absence of 4 to 8 weeks. But the real damage is psychological. The confidence in her body, already fragile, will suffer another devastating blow. Questions will arise about her ability to withstand the demands of the tour. Her team will have to not only manage her physical recovery, but also rebuild her mindset. A monumental task for any athlete. The dream of the top 30 now seems more distant than ever, and time, unfortunately, is not on her side. For Alex Eala, the path is the opposite, but not without its own challenges. The victory took her to the second round, yes, but the true prize was the consolidation of her image as a leader and an ambassador for the sport. The global media, which once spoke only of her potential, now speaks of her character. This goodwill is invaluable, however, the expectation only grows. Now she is not only expected to win, she is expected to win with the same grace and maturity. The pressure to become the Philippines' first Grand Slam champion is a heavy burden, and every victory brings her closer to that destiny. The match in Hong Kong became a symbol. It encapsulated the duality of elite sport, The glory and the agony, the triumph and the tragedy, the individual ambition and the collective solidarity. Boulter's tears and Eala's compassion reminded us that behind the rankings and the prize money, tennis is, at its core, a profoundly human experience. It's about dreams that are realized and others that are postponed, about bodies that obey and others that fail, and about the spirit that persists through it all. That night, on a court in Hong Kong, we didn't just see a tennis match. We saw a mirror of life itself, with all its raw beauty and its inevitable pain. And somehow, we came away with a deeper understanding not only of the sport, but of the condition of those who dare to play it at the very highest level.